Florida employment lawyer Jonathan Pollard, going to talk today about hostile work environment. Okay? And this is probably going to offend a lot of people out there and make a lot of people scream and yell and throw temper tantrums and send me in my office hate mail and tell me what a bald-headed, jerk-faced, mustached meanie I am. But I'm going to actually do you all a favor, okay? I'm going to tell you what a hostile environment really is, okay? Every single week, our office gets literally hundreds of inquiries from employees who have various workplace grievances. We take the real cases. We take the cases where a person was treated in a way that is immoral, utterly unacceptable, and violates the law. We also take the cases where the person is a good, reasonable, credible human being. That rules out, that combination of metrics rules out about 95% of people and their cases. And one of the things we hear more than anything else is hostile work environment. Hostile work environment. I hear hostile work environment thrown around, my God, 30 or 40 times a day. I don't handle intake. I don't handle the inquiries, but I can take a peek at it and see what's coming through. I can check the flow of leads, inquiries, etc., and look what's coming in. And I have keywords, highlighted and things like that. And I see hostile work environment all the time. And folks, hostile work environment does not mean what you think it does, right? If you are familiar with The Princess Bride, Vizzini keeps saying inconceivable, okay? Vizzini keeps saying inconceivable. And I think it's in Inigo Montoya says, why does he keep using that word? I do not think it means what he thinks it means. That's what we have with hostile work environment, okay? A hostile work environment has to involve harassment tied to a protected classification. So race, religion, gender, age, etc., right? Protected classification, a category against whom you cannot discriminate, all right? And then two, that harassment has to be either so severe or so pervasive that a reasonable person would consider the work environment to be intolerably abusive. So let's take a step back, okay? And again, you might not like me. You might think I'm a terrible, jerk-faced meanie, but I am telling you how the law actually works. And if you are a person who is experiencing something at work and you're wondering whether or not you have a claim, a legal claim, or just a grievance, my commentary here today may help you sort through that and realize what you have. Society, over the past 10 years in particular, has succeeded in convincing folks that their feelings are essentially the same thing as their rights, or that their feelings should be treated like rights, and that a violation of one's feelings is essentially equivalent to or de facto amounts to a violation of one's rights. That is not how the law works, And from a societal and public policy standpoint, that would be utterly absurd and unworkable, okay? Most grievances wherein people claim they have a hostile work environment do not actually amount to a hostile work environment. A boss just generally being mean, insulting, dismissive, unfriendly, having a clique, giving you the silent treatment, not giving you favorable assignments. There were cupcakes in the break room for Julie's birthday and you didn't get invited, and your favorite flavor was strawberry with the vanilla icing and someone ate that one. That's not a hostile work environment, okay? I hear a lot of terms thrown around. I hear people say, I'm being targeted, I'm being bullied, I'm being intimidated, my voice is not being heard, my feelings are not being validated, they're not considering my input. Most of these grievances go the direction of basically interpersonal drama, a lot of which is actually petty, okay? The law is not a solution for interpersonal workplace drama that is of a run-of-the-mill nature. The law is not a solution for petty interpersonal grievances, okay? And it may shock you to hear this coming from a plaintiff side employment lawyer who will throw down and spend millions of dollars to pursue cases that I consider egregious, that I consider fighting for what is just, for what is moral, for what is right, for what is necessary on behalf of abused workers, right? Like, you are listening to a man who has gone to bat for $10, $11, $12 an hour factory workers, janitors, security guards, often defending them against non-compete cases for free for years out of my own pocket because I believed it was the right thing to do, and because I didn't think anybody else would do it, right? I had nobody else to send, so I sent myself, okay? That is my credo, right? That is my credo. I was honored by the United States District Court for the Southern District of Florida for doing pro bono work. I have a day named after me in Lauderdale Lakes, Florida. Again, for volunteer work, for starting and running and funding a high school speech and debate program out of my own pocket with my own money while I was working 70 hours a week in big law, and which ultimately got 2 kids to the national championships from Boyd Anderson High School in Lauderdale Lakes, right? That's who you're listening to. That's who you're talking to, folks. Jonathan Pollard, right? Big meanie I am, okay? And I'm such a meanie because I am telling you that your rights are not the same thing as your feelings. And I'm further telling you that if you are in a workplace situation where your grievance is basically interpersonal, you don't like someone doesn't like you, they're mean, they're dismissive, they're disrespectful, they ignore you, they don't give you favorable assignments, you feel like you're not being treated fairly or appropriately, the answer in most of those situations is not a legal answer. So many people, and I will tell you, particularly men, so many grown men, 35, 40, 45, 50, and I'm not talking poor people. factory workers, I'm not talking poor people. I'm talking solidly middle class or upper middle class or even upper class people. Managers, vice presidents, sales executives, engineers, whatever. Grown men show up every single day. They have no claim that they've been discriminated against. It's not based on their gender, their race, their age, their religion, disability. None of that. They claim they're in a hostile work environment. Everything is bullying, targeting, not validating, not being heard. That's not a hostile work environment. Tell you what a hostile work environment is. And I hate to be so brass tacks with you, okay? But I will be, because that's who I am. We have a case that came in recently where it's out of the construction industry, which I have said it before, I will say it again. Construction is a hotbed of some of the ugliest, most inhumane, most malicious, wicked mistreatment of working people, and especially of minorities and women, that I've ever seen. It's deplorable. And we're not just talking companies that are like little mom and pop. We're talking companies that, 30 million, 50 million, 100 million, 200 million. We're talking some sophisticated companies that should know better. They have enough resources to staff up and get the people they need to know better, but they don't care. And so I see the ugliest cases, right? Black workers digging a trench, right? So they're down, they're digging, okay? White foreman on a golf cart, riding around with a gun strapped to his waist, open carry state, screaming the N-word at these people. That is a hostile work environment. That's a hostile work environment. You go to work and your boss, say you're a woman, you go to work and your boss calls you a bitch and says he wants to fuck you and he wants to see you naked and send him naked pictures. Oh, he can't wait to get you in bed, right? That is a hostile work environment, okay? Say you're Jewish, right? You go to work and a colleague is drawing swastikas on the wall, or draws them on the door of your office and says, hey, stupid Jew boy, right? And treats you like that consistently, right? That is a hostile work environment, okay? That's a hostile work environment. You work retail. You're 65 years old, okay? And your direct manager says, why did they put this slow ass motherfucker on my team? This guy's retarded. He's an old ass motherfucker. I don't need old people on my team, right? And she does that again and again and again. And you complain to management and they don't do anything. And it keeps happening. And then your direct manager makes a video recording of you mocking you and puts it on TikTok. That is a hostile work environment. You feel me? Are you starting to understand, right? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here? The perpetual sob fest and victimhood party does not serve you. It does not serve society. It does not serve anyone. If you are working in a job where you are truly being subjected to a hostile work environment that goes the direction of what I described, yes, we can help you. We can evaluate your case. Can't guarantee we'll take anybody's particular case. We get hundreds of inquiries every single week. But if you are truly being subject to a hostile work environment, which is outright abusive, yes, I'm about that. I will fight for you. I will take that case. I will go to the mattresses. I will go the distance. I will not tap out. You decide you want to settle? That's your choice. It's your case. But if you have a case that is truly egregious, part of what I'm doing with my 100 case project is, in certain of these cases, the facts are so egregious, the conduct at issue by corporate America is so wrongful and abusive and malicious and inhumane that the only answer, the only approach, the only solution is to go to a jury trial. Now, this is the problem with being so candid with folks, right? Because you can't trust most people. Most people are not trustworthy. Most people are maladaptive, okay? They're hyper emotional. Their hormones are off. They're not logical. So you have to understand, right? You get into litigation and, jury trial waiver, right? Makes a difference. You get into litigation and your version of the facts is not consistent with other credible, authentic evidence that emerges, has to be accounted for, has to be an adjustment in the strategy, right? So don't ever call my firm and be one of the folks we accept and then turn around 2 years from now and point to this video and say, you said you were going to take it to trial. No, we'll take it to trial if it checks every single box. And there are boxes on the front end from a selection standpoint, and then there are boxes during the litigation, right? But if it comes to light that, for instance, you waived the right to a jury trial, or it comes to light that your version of the facts is not particularly accurate, or it comes to light that you did do something nefarious, that you didn't tell us, right? All of these things have to be taken into consideration. If the case ultimately bears out not to be as strong as originally perceived, we will adjust. Why? Right? We will adjust to get you what we consider the best possible resolution based on the facts and based on the law. And that is our expertise. We are your lawyers. I do not represent people who think they are lawyers or who think they can be their own lawyer or who want to armchair lawyer and tell me what they read on Google. I do not do that. I went to Cornell. I graduated magna cum laude. I went to law school at Georgetown. I was an editor of the Law Review. I worked at Boyce, Schiller, and Flexner at a time when Boyce was one of the preeminent law firms in the United States of America. My first two bosses in big law both clerked on the United States Supreme Court. I started my own firm as a third-year big law associate. I went broke twice, almost had to go back to living in my car, almost had to go back to big law. But I gutted it out and I made it. Then I hired a couple folks, then I built a savage team, then I built a multi-million-dollar law firm. I've been an expert witness in $15 million antitrust unfair competition legal malpractice case. I've represented thousands of employees, litigated hundreds of cases. I do not represent people who are going to tell me how to do my job. I'm quite good at my job. So if we take your case and we decide ultimately you should settle because of XYZ reasons, because of our risk analysis, because certain facts emerged, because certain things came to light that you didn't tell us about or weren't aware of, I represent people who are going to be ride or die with me as their lawyer. And when I say, this is what we need to do, this is what's best for you, you follow my advice. But the reality is 90% or more of the folks out there in the ether, in the universe, watching this, contacting our office, the reality is 90% of you do not have a legal claim and do not need legal advice. You have a workplace grievance. A workplace grievance is entirely and fundamentally different than a legal claim. And the solution to a workplace grievance is not a legal solution. It is a business solution, a job solution, a life solution, a career solution, a personal solution. I am not a psychologist. I am not a social worker. I am not a career coach. I am not a business consultant in this sense. If you are unhappy in your job because people are mean, rude, immature, cliquish, disrespectful, stupid, not listening to you, if your grievance goes that direction, it is most likely just that, just a grievance, not a claim. And the answer there is an obvious one. You either stay at that job and put up with it and deal with it, or you go find another job, or you go start your own business, right? Imagine that. Go start your own business. My mom's family had a small dry cleaning business. They didn't make much money at all. That was her dad's profession. Middle class, kind of like lower middle class. They got by. That's what he did, worked very hard. My father, to this day, owns a shelving and racking business. He is 72. He is 72 years old. He's a black man who started his own business in the late 1970s and has worked for himself for the past 40 plus years. Start your own business. You're miserable? Every job, you're miserable. You don't feel validated. You don't feel respected, valued enough, heard. You can't get paid with what you think you're worth. Start your own business, right? That's the real tell, okay? It's the real tell, right? If you're worth that, if you can do it, then go do it, right? Seems like that's a pretty clear decision tree, right? Stay where you are, deal with it. Get another job, start your own business. Pretty simple. And know, if you are just an aggrieved person, as opposed to a person whose rights have been violated, no, please do not contact me or my office about trying to get you a severance package. Because you don't just get free money. by being aggrieved. You don't even get free money by being aggrieved if people were mean to you. Because the law does not protect you against people being mean. When people are mean, and it's not illegal and it doesn't rise to that level, you deal with it. You talk to them about it. You talk to your supervisors about it. You confront them. And at the end of the day, if that doesn't work, doesn't fix the problem, somebody's still being mean to you, then you go do something else. Terrible as that may sound, it is not always sunshine and puppy dogs and rainbows. Sometimes there is an unfairness that you will not be able to resolve, right? That's the nature of existence. That's the nature of life. Some things are unfair and there is no solution. But I can guarantee you that the solution to grievances, as opposed to violations of one's rights, is not a legal solution. And I can guarantee you that the vast majority of workplace grievances simply do not rise to the level of a hostile work environment. There you have it. Now you know. Have a good day.